Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by dense forests, there stood an ancient tree unlike any other. Its branches stretched wide, its roots dug deep, and its bark shimmered faintly under the moonlight. The villagers called it the wishing tree. Legends whispered that anyone who tied a ribbon to its branches and spoke their deepest desire would see their wish come true. Children grew up with stories of the tree's miracles. Some swore that they had seen poor farmers become rich, sick children healed, and lost travelers guided back home, all after whispering their wishes beneath its leaves. But alongside these stories of wonder, there were darker ones, stories of wishes that went terribly wrong. Yet, no one wanted to believe those warnings because when desperation calls, hope is louder than fear. Before we begin this journey into the mystery of the wishing tree, I want to welcome you warmly to our channel. Here, we bring you powerful stories filled with lessons that stay with you long after the tale ends. If you love stories that stir your imagination and awaken your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for daily videos. Now, let's step into the shadows of the forest where the wishing tree waits. One evening, a boy named Arin, restless with poverty, wandered into the woods. His family had barely enough food to survive, and his father's health was failing. Aaron had heard whispers of the wishing tree since childhood, but he always thought of it as nothing more than a bedtime tale. That night, however, something inside him pushed him deeper into the forest. He followed a faint glow that pulsed like a heartbeat through the trees. At last, he found it. The wishing tree standing tall under the silver light of the moon. Its branches seemed alive, swaying without wind, whispering like voices in the dark. Arin stepped closer, feeling his chest tighten. The stories had been true. This tree was not ordinary. It was waiting, almost expecting him. With trembling hands, Arin pulled a red ribbon from his pocket, his mother's only keepsake from her wedding day. He tied it gently to one of the lower branches and whispered, "Please, let my father's health return. Let my family never go hungry again." The leaves rustled, the roots shivered, and for a moment, the tree glowed brighter. Aaron's heart raced with hope. Something was happening. Something was listening. But as he stepped back, a sudden chill washed over him. The once gentle whispers of the leaves turned sharp, almost mocking. The ground beneath his feet quaked ever so slightly, as though the forest itself was warning him of what he had done. Aaron ran home with fear in his chest, though at first, life felt like a miracle. Aaron's father regained his strength as though years of sickness had been wiped away overnight. The family laughed again, sharing meals so plentiful they had to give food away to neighbors. The villagers marveled, whispering about their sudden fortune. But Aaron kept his secrets buried deep. He told no one of the wishing tree, for fear they might think he had done something forbidden. Days passed, then weeks. Every morning, Aaron woke to the sight of his father chopping wood with strong arms and his mother smiling in peace. For the first time in his life, Aaron believed in magic, but soon shadows began creeping into their happiness. It started subtly. The neighbors who once accepted gifts of food began to glare at Aaron's family with envy. Some muttered that no one's fortune could change so quickly without some kind of trick. Their kindness turned to suspicion, their smiles to scowls. Aaron noticed the shift, but he said nothing. He told himself it didn't matter as long as his family was safe. But then came the dreams. At night, Aaron would wake up drenched in sweat, hearing the sound of leaves whispering his name. Sometimes he saw the wishing tree in his sleep, its branches stretching toward him like hands, its roots curling around his legs. In these dreams, the tree would whisper, "Every wish has a price, Aaron. Every gift must be repaid." He would wake with a pounding heart, convincing himself it was only his imagination. One evening, as the family sat together, their lantern flickered and went out. In the sudden darkness, Aaron's father coughed, just once, but it was enough to freeze Aaron's blood. That cough sounded like the one he used to hear every night. Fear coiled inside him. Could the tree take back what it had given? The next morning, Aaron couldn't bear it anymore. He went back to the forest, determined to face the wishing tree. The air grew colder as he walked, and the closer he got, the heavier his steps felt. The forest seemed alive, as though it knew what he was about to do. When he reached the tree, he found something terrifying. His red ribbon was no longer alone. Dozens of ribbons hung from its branches, old and tattered, each one a reminder of wishes once made. Some were faded, others shredded, but they all told the same story. Many had come before him, and none had escaped the price. Aaron fell to his knees trembling. "What do you want from me?" he shouted. His voice echoed through the forest, but the tree only shivered in reply, its leaves whispering like laughter. Suddenly, the ground split slightly at the base of the trunk, revealing bones tangled in its roots, skulls, ribs, and fragments of clothing. Aaron stumbled backward, his heart racing as the bones beneath the wishing tree glistened in the dim light. The ground felt alive beneath his feet, as though the roots themselves were reaching for him. His breath came in quick, shallow gasps. He had thought he was clever, thought he had outsmarted fate, but now he understood. Every miracle the tree gave was only borrowed time, and payment was inevitable. He wanted to run, to escape, but he knew the curse would follow him home. His father's laughter, his mother's relief, all of it hung by a thread, tied to this cursed tree, Ramburna. The more he thought about it, the more he realized something terrifying. The stronger his father grew, the sicker Aaron felt. Lately, his own body had grown weaker. His hands trembled when he tried to carry water. His vision blurred at night, and his chest tightened when he breathed. Could it be that tree had taken his strength in exchange for his father's? "No," he whispered, clutching his chest. "This can't be." But deep down, he knew the truth. The tree didn't give, it only traded. That night, the nightmares returned, but this time they were worse. Aaron dreamt of himself standing beneath the wishing tree, his ribbon turning black as the roots wrapped around his ankles, pulling him into the soil. He heard his father calling his name, but the voice was distant, fading, as though he was sinking into the earth itself. He woke screaming, his body drenched in sweat, his mother rushing to his side. She touched his forehead, her face pale with worry. "You're burning up, Aaron. You're not well." But he couldn't tell her. How could he explain that their happiness was built on his suffering? How could he confess that he had unleashed a curse upon them all? The next morning, as he sat outside trying to catch his breath, an old man from the village approached. His face was weathered like cracked stone, and his eyes carried a heaviness that only comes from witnessing too much. He leaned on a cane and studied Aaron with a look that sent shivers down his spine. "You went to the tree, didn't you?" the man said softly. Aaron froze, his lips parting in shock. He had never told anyone. The old man sighed. I know the signs. You're not the first. The tree grants what you ask, but it always takes more than you're willing to lose. My brother wished for wealth many years ago. He got it for a time, but the price was his life. The tree fed on him until there was nothing left. Aaron's stomach twisted. Then how do I stop it? He begged. The old man's eyes darkened. You can't stop it. But sometimes the curse can be shifted. A sacrifice. Aaron lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to his father's steady breathing in the next room. The sound should have brought him peace, but instead, it filled him with dread. Every rise and fall of his father's chest seemed to echo the weakening of his own. He felt his body failing, as though the curse was tightening its grip with each passing hour. The old man's words replayed in his mind. A sacrifice, freely given, might break the chain. But what could he possibly give? His voice trembled as he whispered into the darkness. If I let the tree take me, will my family be safe? Will the curse end with me? The silence gave no answer, only the rustle of the wind outside, like the whispering of unseen spirits. By dawn, he had made his decision. Weak and unsteady, he returned to the forest, the ribbon clutched in his hand. The wishing tree loomed ahead, its branches heavy with the weight of countless desires. He stepped closer, his heart pounding, and tied his ribbon back onto the branch where he had first placed it. Take me, he said, his voice breaking. Take what you need, but let my family live free. The ground trembled, and the roots shifted beneath him. He felt them wrap around his legs, cold and alive. For a moment, terror consumed him. But then he thought of his father smiling, his mother laughing, their home filled with warmth instead of sorrow. A strange calm washed over him. His body grew heavy, his breath shallow, and his vision blurred. But then something unexpected happened. The roots paused as though listening. A light, faint at first, glowed from the ribbon he had tied. The tree shuddered, groaned, and then released him. Aaron collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. He looked up and saw the ribbons above him turning pale, their colors fading into dust before crumbling away. The curses, one by one, were being released. The wishing tree, stripped of its power, stood bare and silent. For the first time in centuries, the forest felt lighter, freer, as though a great weight had been lifted. Aaron's body trembled, but his strength slowly returned. The curse had not taken him. It had ended with his choice. When he returned to the village, his father embraced him with tears in his eyes. His mother held his face in her hands, whispering, You look different, my son. Lighter? Aaron smiled faintly, but he knew better. He was not lighter, he was simply free. And from that day on, no one in the village dared approach the wishing tree again. Its branches stood barren, a reminder that not every gift is a blessing and not every wish should be granted. Friends, this story carries a powerful truth. In life, there are